Hey, welcome to the Razzle Dazzle Show, a podcast where we talk about our favorite video games and all things pop culture with an emphasis on our favorites. We're your hosts, Jared and Mauro.
Hey, my name is Mauro. This is my voice. This is Mauro's voice that is attached to Mauro.
And to celebrate Mauro's birthday, today we are talking about The Force Unleashed 1 and 2. The Force Unleashed series, developed by LucasArts, explores the untold story of Darth Vader's secret apprentice, Starkiller, set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. In the first game, players wield incredible force powers as Starkiller, tasked with hunting Jedis while grappling with his loyalties. The sequel refines gameplay with dual-wielding lightsabers and enhanced abilities, focusing on Starkiller's search for identity. Renowned for cinematic storytelling, thrilling combat, and stunning physics, the series offers a unique Star Wars experience. Though no longer canon, it remains a fan favorite for its bold narrative and innovative design. Please let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at RazzleDazzleShow, on TikTok at Razzle_Dazzle_Show, on Blue Sky at Raz-Show-Pod, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Raz_Daz_Pod. And with all that being said, it's Razzle Dazzle time!
I know this is a weird question since we're talking about it, but do you like The Force Unleashed? I don't mean it as a game. I mean it as... Hold on, wait. I don't mean as a game. I mean as part of the Star Wars media.
Yes.
Like, in between, obviously now it's part of Legends. It's not canon anymore, but George Lucas himself worked on this game.
Yeah.
They marketed it as if like it was Star Wars Episode 3.5.
I mean, it technically is. It starts off like a Star Wars movie. I'm not gonna say plays. I'm sorry. It feels like a Star Wars movie, an interactive Star Wars movie, of course, because it's a video game. But like the cutscenes feel like I'm watching Star Wars. Like the first sequence, it's It's
got the title crawl and everything.
It starts off exactly the same. Like it's shot as if it's a Star Wars movie. And to answer your question, yes, it's a great way for before Disney bought the thing to kind of tell the origin story of how the Rebels got started.
I love that a lot. I genuinely did. I remember that The Force Unleashed, I got it on the PSP before anything. I've played it on the PS5 now, recently, through streaming, but originally I had it on the PSP, and that was like one of the first Star Wars games I ever had. I didn't get Battlefront 2 until like way later. Nobody knew about, even like my friends that like at school that knew about Star Wars, they weren't really talking about this game. And I was playing it and stuff, and I felt like, okay, like I like this character, but like he should just show up in the movies. Everybody's really big into Clone Wars, and I'm like, yeah, he's not in the Clone Wars, whatever. But then I beat the game, and he died, and I'm like, oh, and on top of that, he dies, great. But the final scene where they use, they're meeting up in Kashyyyk, and they use his family crest as the main logo.
Yeah, for the Rebel Alliance.
The Rebel Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say, oh, like we'll do it in his honor and his memory. That was a really heartwarming scene for me. I'm like, oh damn, so like he matters in a way, like it's thanks to his spark that the Rebel Alliance, grew, like was formed technically.
Yeah.
He did get them together, and then he was the sacrifice that pushed them all to be like, yeah. There are also novelizations of the game that go deeper into Starkiller's like psyche. I haven't read them. Yeah, I have not read them, but they're supposed to be a little more grounded since the game is like, a power fantasy.
Right. I mean, it's as it should be. It's called The Force Unleashed, right? It's,
absolutely.
This Starkiller is probably one of the most strongest Force users period or would have been in the Star Wars franchise.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, he's not part of canon right now, but he's still part of the Legends continuity.
Yeah.
So within that scope of, I mean, that's where you get the Old Republic. That's where you get Kyle Katarn.
Yeah.
Jedi Academy. You remember those games?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like all of that is part of like.
I'm glad you brought this up because I'm like cleaning my office now. And I forgot that I had a PC disc, like the PC versions of Jedi Academy 2 and Battlefront 1 and Clone Wars Republic Heroes.
Man, I loved Clone Wars Republic Heroes.
Me too.
I had that one for the Wii, actually. It worked out really well, though, because you could use the Wiimote and the secondary...
The nunchuck?
Yeah, the nunchuck to to aim
Yeah.
when you were playing as the clone troopers. That was fun.
But yeah, no, I really am disappointed that out of all of the stories that were created pre-Disney, this is one of those that got scrapped. And it sucks because what is the Disney version of how the Rebel Alliance got started now? I don't even remember. Like, of all the things I've watched, Andor, like during the Andor series, like it's already kind of established, like it's starting, like it's already, like there's something already there. Rogue One, that's already established. Is it Rebels?
Kind of, but not really. I don't know. So in the Disney canon, there isn't one singular starting point,
right?
But I've seen in a lot of different time periods, like a lot of disconnected, oh, this is where the Rebel Alliance begins, but sort of stories, but they haven't really definitively given like one, because they're not really, I don't know, like they have, their focus is just kind of shifted all over the timeline,
which is insane, man, because we got go ahead.
No, I was just gonna harp on the fact that, so like in Tales of the Jedi, for example, right, Rex and Ahsoka leave, but then when Ahsoka goes off to do her own thing, she then decides to come back and help the Rebel Alliance, which is already kind of on its way with Bail Organa. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
But then in the Bad Batch, Rex is also working for some sort of anti-Empire faction. Yeah. Probably also with like Bail Organa and stuff. But I don't know. Then in Rebels, which is like 15 years later or something, I don't know, you have these guys that are just kind of like the Ghost Crew, but they're not part of the bigger Rebel Alliance until way later, right? But it's already established way later.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest reason why I think it happened is just because you're able to choose light side, dark side. There are choices that leads to different endings within both games, and instead of having like a defined, this is the true ending of this story, this is the true path, and just leaving it up to interpretation depending on what you choose, that's fine. But like, I think that's the main reason why like it got scrapped, like the light side ending, dark side endings.
I don't know, they could have worked around that, because even before that, it's kind of accepted that the light side endings are the canon ones. Yeah. Because in the dark side endings, they have DLC that kind of go contradictory to the to what happened in the movies. You kill Obi-Wan and turn Luke dark or something. You kill like Han and Chewie. Yeah.
Leia's already a Jedi.
Leia's already a Jedi, which is cool. They're cool little what ifs. That's another thing I miss about the game. I feel like Disney could have totally kept on. They could have just released one more game, which was already being worked on, by the way. Really? Yeah, it was so The Force Unleashed 2 ends with Darth Vader getting kidnapped. Well, not kidnapped, but like arrested. Yes. Arrested, sorry. I'm just a Darth Vader sympathizer over here. Kidnapped by terrorists, if you will. This brave soldier of the Empire. And he gets taken away. For Force Unleashed 3, even though there was nothing in active development, it was already in the talks. The plan was there. Sam Witwer has an interview. The source is I found it on the wiki, but it is source, and I did read the interview, and Sam Witwer was talking about how him and the lead designer, he was being told about how the potential story for Force Unleashed 3 would have to do with the transport ship that they were in crashing on some planet, and Starkiller and Darth Vader having to work together to try to get out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, that was probably just one of the many ideas floating around. It would have been nice, but the ending of The Force Unleashed 2 was made specifically with a third entry in mind. Right. Because okay, you arrested Darth Vader and you left, and that's how your game duology ends. How does he get out? He gets out, guy.
Yeah. Man, Sam Witwer, dude, he is such a great actor in every sense of the word. He's Darth Maul, he's Starkiller, he's hasn't he done other things?
He's the son in Mortis too.
In Mortis. Jesus, man, he's such a talented guy, and God,
he is, and he's a huge Star Wars fan. Yeah. He's a huge Star Wars fan. I have a lot of respect for Sam.
I've seen clips of him getting in depth with Star Wars lore, and really there's a lot of the original Star Wars actors where they're yeah, it's cool, I'm not all that into it, but I'm glad to be a part of it or whatever, right? And that's fine, do whatever you want.
Of course, it's a job. It's a job. They did the job. They did they played their part, and they played it amazing. They don't have to be super fans of the series.
But Sam kind of is, you know?
No, absolutely.
And it's great. And I actually saw a video, I think 2 nights ago, where he was on a podcast or an interview of some kind talking about how there wasn't really a Sith code necessarily until he got brought back in the Clone Wars when Darth Maul came back, and he was like implementing certain specific things that he would say as Maul to like kind of solidify there being a Sith code, because he knew like whatever was gonna be recorded and put on Clone Wars is gonna be canon. So
That's
he like
right.
took that opportunity to make a Sith code. And you know, we kind of like, even Phantom Menace was like, you know, there's always 2 or whatever, and we get Darth Plagueis and all that stuff, but like nothing really solidified until Sam, you know, did more work as Darth Maul. And it kind of shows in Force Unleashed. Like, I wonder if he had any creative like liberties with like how things went or whatever, how like the story played out, because there being 2, but there's like a secret assassin, just like Palpatine, Dooku, and Ventress.
Yeah, exactly. That's not. Yeah, Dooku having Ventress was kind of like a loophole.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, that's just my assassin. The same way that Grievous is working for me. Yes, they're using lightsabers, but it's just another weapon. Wink, wink. With Starkiller, Vader, I think, knew that Palpatine wouldn't buy that. Oh, that's just my assassin.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, he was secret.
He was secret. Vader knew that if Palpatine found out, it was game over. He was like, nope, you're training a secret apprentice to kill me. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he, man, the Sith code, I don't know. The only reason this is so fresh in my mind is because I've been playing Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO recently.
Yeah.
And this was before Darth Bane created the rule of 2.
Oh, right.
So this was a point where Coruscant had the Jedi Temple, or actually it was on Tythos, but whatever. It had the Jedi Temple, and it had like a bunch of Jedi throughout the galaxy. But then Drummond Kaas had the Sith Temple or Academy, and there were a bunch of Sith with apprentices, just like the dichotomy of the light side and the dark. Supposedly, though, the only code is that there's no such thing as peace. There's only chaos, you know.
Right.
Like it's ultimate freedom. No rules can bound you. You do what you want. And obviously Sith would constantly betray each other. It's just the nature of being a Sith. But eventually they did that so much where they all ended up killing each other, and then Darth Bane emerged, and he had an apprentice, and he said that there should only be 2 because he was the only one left who's going to argue with him. So I personally, I don't really disagree. I don't agree with the Sith code. I feel like if there are already 2 Sith and you want to practice the dark side and you feel like you could take them out, then I mean, go right ahead.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like the anime Afro Samurai.
No, yeah, actually.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm here and I can, so I'm gonna try.
Yeah. So let's talk about the actual game. I was joking with you earlier through text. So calling this game the God of Star Wars, but parentheses on Star, because that's what it is. This is a God of War game, but with Star Wars painted on top of it, over it. It's a hack and slash with quick time events, and you know, there's a skill tree and force powers. You know, I'm really glad, like, out of all the games that came out before Force Unleashed, and like there were quite a few Star Wars games where you play as a Jedi or a Force wielder, like the Obi-Wan game in that came out for the original Xbox and stuff, you know, that this game really, like, it really emphasized the Force in the title, you know, because there are so many different Force powers that you can use. And you know, the favorites like push, pull, lift, lightning, you know, and like there's
lightning. It
even
gave you
more
lightning.
And dude, Force Lightning is OP if you like rank it up or like level it up early enough. Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Sometimes you don't even need to use your lightsaber.
So true. And I've always had access to these games as a kid growing up when they were coming out, but I never played like from the beginning to credits. Never done that until this past weekend, where I finally got 2 copies of the game for the 360, and I just blew through them in the weekend. And I'm surprised how short they were. When we were planning on doing this episode, you were like, "They're short games, man," and I'm like, "Yeah, I think I remember them being short." But actually playing through them, I'm like, they are short, like 2 afternoons, like 1 afternoon a game, and you're done. And it's crazy, but like I will say that I was playing it on easy mode just because I wanted to get through the story, because that's all I care about. Like, I know about the gameplay, you know, whatever. I wanted to get through the story, but even so, like, even if you're gonna be playing on, what is it, master difficulty or whatever,
it would take you 2 days max if you're playing uninterrupted.
Yeah, it's a constant fun time. There's constant adrenaline going through. Like, every step forward is like you not only learning more things about the Force, about your abilities, but like the destruction that you leave, like on like and you cause so much damage.
I like that every part of the game that isn't like a load-bearing structure, like a wall or a floor or something, is completely breakable.
Yeah.
You can smash people into it. You can use the Force to take them off of their hinges and throw them at things. Almost everything explodes.
Yes.
And the fact that you can, like, you genuinely feel like a force to be reckoned with, pun intended. Because you can pick anything up with the Force, including other people.
Yeah.
You grab them, you grab them and you just throw them to each other, or you force choke them in the air, or you just, and then you can see their little bodies away and then falling down into like the depths.
Yeah.
You feel powerful. You genuinely feel like a menace.
The only thing I didn't use that much is the Jedi mind trick.
You're right. Oh man, I always get remembered that I have that.
Yeah.
While I'm playing the game through, like, oh, like, by the way, here, you can use this. Oh, that's right.
There's no time or place where you're needed to use the mind trick in the first game. Like, in the second game, yeah, part of the tutorial, that's fine. But like, it's never required in any part of the game where you gotta be like, all right, kill yourself, you know? Because the alternative options, you can just force lightning everything, just massive destruction,
or just force repulse. If you're getting overwhelmed, you force repulse. Everybody goes flying down. But I guess if you were maybe like in a one-on-one, because when you're fighting multiple enemies, which is a big chunk of the game, sometimes you can't really focus on a specific person and do a task uninterrupted, because you will just get, you know, attacked by somebody else.
Yeah.
But if you're a one-on-one, I've never tried it. Does the mind trick work on like what are those things called? The ones that show up and have red lightsabers and try to fight you?
Oh, like, I'm assuming they're like acolytes or something. I mean, they're clones. They're clones of you know.
No, not in the second game. In the first one. In the first game, when you rescue General Coda, after, like, you know, he's blind, you show up to the bar to try to pick him up and stuff. At the very end, some guy shows up and he's like, you know, he's got
they're like those the Imperial Guards with lightsabers.
Are they like Inquisitors or something?
I think they were Inquisitors before Inquisitors were a thing.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Something. That's another thing with the rule of 2, right? Like, yes, but Vader, you shall not have an apprentice. It's only you and me. We're Sith, but we're also going to have like a group of like 12 people that also know how to use the Force, also dress all in black, also have red lightsabers.
Trained in our ways.
Trained in our ways. They all have lightsaber forms of combat. They're not Sith, though. They're not Sith.
They're assassins. They're Inquisitors.
They're assassins, yeah. Inquisitors.
Come on, Disney. Like,
read the
give us a break, dude.
No, but I feel like this is a conscious in-universe decision. Because Palpatine is a hypocrite, obviously. Yes. He uses the rule of 2 to try to tell Vader, hey, you can't have any apprentices. But then he's like, no, but I'm going to have all of these apprentices, but they're not apprentices. No, they're Inquisitors. They're assassins.
And what an amazing way to start a game. Playing as Vader, laying waste to Wookiees.
I have something to say about that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I didn't like it. I loved it. It was amazing. You could actually feel like you're Vader. You're not running. Yeah. Starkiller runs, but when you're playing as Vader, even when you're like pressing down on the run button or the sprint button, he's just fast walking.
Yeah.
This menace could not be bothered to pick up his pace while there are like stormtroopers and Wookiees fighting all around him, and he's just casually deflecting bolts and bringing down Wookiees and killing them. You feel like a monster.
One of the best tutorial sections.
I hate that it was Wookiees.
I know.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing, but I hate that it was Wookiees.
We love Wookiees. They did that on purpose, man. Because everybody loves Wookiees. And what's a better way to start a game where you play as a Sith? Killing the one thing that people love in this time period.
Yeah. That's tough. That's too tough. Too tough for me.
It's a perfect way to do a tutorial section, man. It's just because like
Absolutely.
before this, there was Revenge of the Sith that had a video game. I never played through the end, but I don't know if you got to play as Vader. You got to play as Anakin, yeah, but you never got to play as. I don't know if there was ever a game where you dedicated playing as Vader other than Battlefront.
Battlefront, yes, but I mean,
But that's iffy, you know.
That's a little iffy because they do have a lot of characters and the movesets are just kind of recolors of all the other ones. What games is Darth Vader playable in?
Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur
Okay.
2 for I think the 360.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
And Yoda for that matter. But
Oh, he's on Fortnite as well.
oh god.
Okay, well, none of these games came before The Force Unleashed, except for Battlefront. Yes, those count.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There was no dedicated Darth Vader simulator, and this one gave it to us for a bit.
Yeah.
Give it to us for a bit.
My biggest complaints, which aren't really like that big for both of the games, is the lack of locations, like different kinds of places you visit.
That's true. I guess the second game kind of got a little better with that.
No, it didn't.
No,
it
What are
didn't.
you talking about?
No, the first
Why?
game had more locations than the second because the second game.
No. Well, variety. Are you talking about like number of planets? Or are you talking about variety in? Because there's a lot of planets that just kind of look very similar.
You're right, but I think variety is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, because in 2 you get Camino, you get the cruiser,
the cruiser.
yeah,
Oh, that's right, the cruiser.
and then Camino again. That's it.
No, hold on. You save Coda from that cloud place. Are you in Bespin when you save Coda?
But that's in the first game. I said the second game.
No. In the second game, right after you escape Camino,
Oh, you're right.
you go rescue General Coda from with like you fight a giant monster and stuff.
How do I not remember?
Damn.
It blends. See, that's what I mean.
Hold on.
A lot of
No,
things
it does.
blend.
It does. Part 2 does. You're right. It does blend. It does blend. But I meant like sheer variety. Like Bespin looked beautiful. If it was
great.
Bespin,
But it was short.
It was very short. It was very short.
So like
criminally short.
yeah, but for the first game, you get a one-off planet. Where did you even start? I don't even remember. It was for Coda, right?
You start in Kashyyyk in the first game.
Well, I know, but I'm saying like as Starkiller, you're on top of Cato Nemoidia.
You're on top of. I think you're on top of Nar Shaddaa, and you're like in a space station.
Yeah, you're in the space station fighting Coda. Next, you're on that rust junk planet.
Yeah.
After that,
Raxus Prime, I believe.
Yes, cool name.
Absolutely amazing.
Then I think you go to Felucia.
That's right. That one. Okay, but see, hold on. There's variety there. Up until here.
I think that's where this ends.
Oh, do you? Okay, all right.
Because after Felucia, you go back to Raxus Prime, and you got to deal with Proxy, which he fights you as Darth Maul, which is a good reference because Sam Witwer. And then you go to the Death Star, which is just like still inside like a space station. I don't know. It's better, but like.
Okay, yeah, you do. You're right. So Force Unleashed 1, you go from Kashyyyk to a space station to a very like acidic, rusty, dusty looking junk planet to a very like Avatar-esque looking planet in Felucia.
I think you go to Felucia twice because Shaktik had an apprentice.
Yes. Up until there was a lot of variation, but then you're right. You do hit Raxus Prime twice. You do hit Felucia twice. You do hit the Jedi Temple twice, actually.
Oh, yeah.
If you have, yeah. And then I think you go to Cloud City, though. You go to Cloud City.
Yeah.
You go to Cloud City. That's nice. You find a bounty hunter. That's cool.
I'm pretty sure that's the second game.
Nah.
After you break out of Camino?
That's a dip. Okay, yes, you do go to Cloud City in the second game, but that's just
But that was
a
Cato
separate
Nemoidia.
instance of you going to Cloud City.
Why can't I remember these things, man?
Oh, you know what? I might be conflating the games. I might be conflating the actual Force Unleashed with the PSP version, because in the PSP version, you go to the Jedi Temple a third time, and I'm pretty sure the bounty hunter that you fight. Hold on, wait. You just played the Force Unleashed 1, right?
I played both.
Yes, right. But in the first one, when you were on Raxus Prime, did you ever fight a purple Rhodian?
It wasn't a Rhodian. It was like it was a little blue alien dude with like weird iron spider legs, and he had like a staff lightsaber or something.
Yes, that was the Jedi. But before the Jedi, in Rex's Prime, did you encounter this guy?
No.
No. Okay, so
No.
this guy is... okay, so this dude is a PSP exclusive.
Interesting.
Yes, I can't remember his name. Drexel Rouge. Drexel Rouge. So, okay, that's probably what's happening. The PSP, since it's like smaller and less detailed,
Yeah.
I guess they threw more things in there. An extra enemy in Rex's Prime, and I guess a part in Cloud City. Because I specifically remember walking around Cloud City, and the NPCs are walking around. They're not enemies, but you could still lift them up and throw them off the side.
Okay, I got it. I got a map. Okay, so in Force Unleashed 1, oh my god. It's a TIE factory with Coda, then Raxus Prime, Felucia, ISS Empirical, I'm assuming that's another station. You go to Cloud City Bespin, then Imperial Kashyyyk, right, when there's the Skyhook or whatever. Felucia again, Raxus Prime again, and the Death Star. I don't know. I think my deal is with the lack of variety is either a station of some kind, 2 places revisited,
yes,
and like 1 place that's like a very short level, and that's like my problem. And Kashyyyk, you visited twice. It's a tutorial level. They
definitely wanted to get their money's work for the planets that they did have. So that's fair. But you're right. It could have definitely had some more variety.
And Force Unleashed 2 is even worse because there's only 3 places.
Yeah. 3 because you hit Camino twice.
Yep.
That sucks, dude.
Right?
What the f***?
But then again, what makes up for it is the story and the amazing combat. First of all, Force Unleashed 2 is a major upgrade in every sense, except for the locations.
Okay.
From the first game. It looks incredible. It plays so much better. Like,
it plays so much
the
smoother,
story is, it's, I'm not going to say better, but like, it's still great. It's like on par with what was left behind because it's a sequel, it's just continuing on with this story. It's still great in every single way. The only thing that might not be all that great is rewards for like doing stuff. You get different costumes, but I don't think the costumes are all that great, more or less. In Force Unleashed 1, you get that Sith Stalker costume, which is really cool, but I think that's the coolest one out of all of them. But yeah, I'm there. I think this is the majority for Star Wars, what I'm about to say. The reason why I care about this, Star Wars and The Force Unleashed, I'm there for the characters and their stories.
Amen. I agree. The characters are really what make it. I mean, the politics are there, the lore is there, and it's somewhat interesting, but it's not interesting enough to carry a franchise. It is just, the characters are what make it. The most memorable thing about Star Wars are Anakin, C-3PO, Ahsoka, Rex. You have people who hit different versions of Star Wars, right? There are like the core Star Wars fans, but then there's like the sequel fans, and then there's like the older Legends fans, Old Republic, Revan, all those books and stuff, and they'll all tell you, oh, Rey is my favorite character. No, Finn is my favorite character. No. Revan or Bastille Shan are my favorite characters. Like they'll talk about the characters, their stories. The planets are cool. They look amazing and all that. But yeah, you're right. A character, like Star Wars films, TV shows, and video games, even to this day.
Yeah.
What makes it or breaks it are the characters.
100%.
Like, a lot of the backlash that the sequels got, to this day, people will argue. Like, if you hear them arguing, they'll be like, no, they ruined this character, or they ruined that character. I can't believe they did this, or they didn't do that with this character, and they didn't take him here or there. The biggest point of contention are what they did right or wrong with the characters in the show, not whether the plot is like superb or whatever. You know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah, or like any set pieces, or how a certain location looks, or how certain force powers work, or whatever, What I really like about The Force Unleashed, like I said before, is like how they really implement using different kinds of force powers to play the game and like make the game your own. It's like an open sandbox kind of, and the developers were like, have at it, man, throw shit around, like blow things up, do whatever you want.
It's your station.
Unleash yourself with the Force. That's literally what it is, and they've done an amazing job. Who are the developers? Asper or whatever?
Actually, that's a good question.
Developed by Asper? Yeah, I got that right. I'm proud of myself.
I'm so proud of you too.
The developers are LucasArts. Never mind.
Lucasfilms Games, Asper, Chrome Studios.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's Lucasfilms. Mostly
man.
Lucasfilms.
George Lucas. You saying George Lucas had like a big part in in the making of this game, the series, it kind of emphasizes what we're saying of what makes this series great. And even if it's not talked about enough or much, I think as Star Wars fans, everybody can agree that these are amazing games, that these are
Absolutely.
like Starkiller is such an interesting character. The concept is interesting enough that we kind of got a Starkiller-esque character in like the Lego Star Wars Chronicles or whatever with Jet 14, another clone Sith or whatever. Okay,
That's right. Look,
So
Starkiller, the reason Starkiller works in my opinion, and I know there are some people that aren't like the biggest fans of Starkiller.
sure.
A lot of the, I mean, people are entitled to their opinions. A lot of the biggest things I hear are that he's too overpowered, but again, that's mostly for the games. Canonically, from what I've read about the novels, I haven't read the novels, but from what I've read about them, it's toned down significantly, But still, this is still the same guy who could like pull a Star Destroyer out of the sky,
Can we
or
talk
at least
about that?
stop it with the Force.
Can we talk about that? I've been wanting to bring up set pieces for a minute.
Let's talk about that one. Let's talk about that.
That has got to be the best part of the entire series, I think.
Did you feel like you were in control of the Force in that moment?
Yes!
That was the coolest f***ing thing.
Out of all the things we could see happen in Star Wars, and to really show how strong this guy is, he pulls a Star Destroyer up from the upper atmosphere or whatever, crashing down to the ground all by himself.
He wasn't able to, at the very end, he like jumps out of the way because he's not able to stop it, but still, like...
He brought it down.
He brought it the f*** down. He made it touch the ground.
While being bombarded by TIE fighters and stuff, regardless of all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Where have you seen that? That reminds me of Maul. And it's great. It's poetic. It's thematic that Sam Witwer voices both of these characters. But in Clone Wars Season 7, when Ahsoka lets Maul go and he just starts wreaking havoc around the ship, that's all I could think of.
Yeah.
The brutality that this man, or this Zabrak, I guess, displayed is like, I'm just like, that's Starkiller. Like that's what it must look like to NPCs, because you're playing him, so you don't really get to see. You're getting to experience, you're living vicariously through him. But imagine being an outsider looking at that thing coming towards you.
Yeah, man. Especially in 2 when they implement the unleashed meter or whatever, where you get like unlimited force things, everything's like powered up, and you don't
have to wait for
raging and stuff. Especially during that last fight against Vader. Oh my God. Playing that freaking scene, bro, playing that battle, I was upset about what happened. Like, I guess we don't care about spoilers. Who the cares?
Nah, go ahead. Spoilers inbound, spoilers.
Like, what's her name? Eclipse? What's
Juno?
Juno? Freaking Juno being thrown out the window by Vader just because she was about to kill him or try to kill him. Fun. And that's the only thing that was keeping Starkiller from attacking Vader. It's like, if you do anything, if you don't like submit to me again, become my slave again, I'm gonna kill her. Cool? He's like, all right, I guess I have to. Juno's like, you know what? No. You, Vader. Gets thrown out the window. Starkiller loses it, man. And absolutely. I was equally as upset when I was fighting, dude. I was just, it's a hack and slash game, right?
I was hack and slash game
and fucking slashing Vader up so hard that dude, and like when you beat him, there's those quick time events of like you gotta mash certain buttons because you're like force lightning or force pushing, like whatever. The tiebreaker thing, dude. I was in it, dude. And
you were in.
God,
that game could put you in the world. That's what I love about this game.
Not just the game, but like his performance, Sam Witwer's performance. Just like I can feel the tragedy behind his acting as Starkiller, dude, his voice acting, dude. Oh, the tragedy. And then just for her to be like, actually, no, I'm fine.
He deserved a win. Let's just say he deserved a win. This man's yells and screams are guttural.
Yes.
My guy. The scream that he gives out when it's him and Palpatine, and they're both shooting lightning at each other. And
Yeah.
obviously Palpatine is the stronger Force user, so he's winning. But like he gives everything he has just to send one last wave so that the rebels can escape in the Rogue One. That scream haunts me, dude. But let's talk about Juno for a second.
Sure.
So before we get off topic, because we could dive a little bit into Star Wars lore here. So you know how the Jedi of old, right? They forbid relationships, right? Don't form attachments, because attachments leads to fear leads to anger, dark side, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a widely accepted stance within the fans and within universe, like in universe as well, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that the Jedi by the time of the Clone Wars had already kind of like hella lost their way.
Yeah.
So that everything, like not everything that they said, obviously good intentions were there, but not everything that they said was actually the way a Jedi was supposed to be. And I believe that their stance on love is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Because their thing is like, hey, don't fall in love, otherwise you're gonna fall to the dark side. But for Starkiller, it was the opposite. He was trained since he was a child in the dark side, yet halfway through the game, specifically because of Juno and because his connections, him, her, Proxy, Coda, the attachments that he formed, that's what brought him over to the light side. At the end of the game, he's got the blue lightsaber. He's not fighting with anger. He's fighting to protect people. Like what's the difference between him and a Jedi, bro? I can't not tell. As far as I'm concerned, bro's a Jedi at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think the common misconception of that interpretation of not forming attachments is, people think forming an attachment means the same thing as loving someone, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. Mm-hmm. Like you can be attached to like, I don't know, like your phone or something. Like you're always on it, you can't live without it or whatever. That doesn't mean you love your phone. You just need it, right? And when that's taken away, or by any means, it kind of destroys you from the inside.
That's true. You're used to relying on something so heavily, and then to just suddenly have it gone, right? You can't focus on normal things.
Exactly.
I feel like that was definitely the intention behind that. Yeah. Like don't form attachments thing.
But like you said, they lost their way. Like that meaning of, or that line between differentiating what an attachment is and like loving something is got muddled, and they're like it just got clouded as the Jedi fell,
Yeah.
While the Clone Wars started.
And by then it was already like way like they were gone already.
Yeah.
They say they'll literally say too. I love the Clone Wars, and I love the Jedi being generals and the clones and the politics and all that. However, from an analyzation standpoint, they're hella hypocrites walking around being like, no, we're not soldiers, we're peacekeepers, while leading like a squad of clone troopers.
Yeah, but there's the argument of like, there's a means to an end or whatever. But
right, of course, but still, it's they were pawns of the Republic by then, not servants,
And that's also, and I'm glad we're actually talking about it, his relationship with Juno, and that's also kind of symbolic with Vader and Padme, Anakin and Padme, like the way Anakin was with Padme and their relationship, the way he went about it caused his downfall to become a Sith, whereas the way Starkiller went about it made him turn into a Jedi. So like he still loves, but there's some yin and yang stuff there that
I feel like Anakin and Padme, had there not been this stigma against Jedi having relationships, it would have worked out just fine. Because it wasn't because of love that he felt desperate enough to betray the Jedi, because he was having visions and Palpatine was gonna, he's like, I'm the only one who can save her. It wasn't love, it was possessiveness.
Yes.
He was like, you're mine. I need you here and I need to not lose you.
And that's forming an attachment.
That's the attachment. But that only happened because he was constantly afraid of losing her. He was constantly afraid of being found out, of her breaking things off because of their careers and getting tired of the running around in secret stuff.
Yeah.
If it was just out in the open like it used to be, because reading tales of like how the Republic was like back then, there were many Jedi who like had Jedi children, children would just be raised collectively in the temple, right? Like, wouldn't that be better?
Right.
Instead of just looking for Force sensitives out in the galaxy and like, oh, hey, I know you just had a kid 5 months ago, but I'm going to take it because He can like make spoons go up with his mind.
I think Obi-Wan had a good handle on his attachment and love, with what's her name, Sabine?
Obi-Wan.
No, not Sabine. Satine.
Obi-Wan was a tragic one though, because
Yes.
I feel like he would have been able to balance his responsibilities as a Jedi and be in a relationship with Satine.
100%.
But because of how dogmatic the Jedi were, he believed that it had to be one or the other. Even though the reason I say it's tragic is because there's a scene where he's talking with Satine and he goes like, I would have left the order. This is in the Clone Wars. He goes, I would have left the order if you had said the word.
Yep.
Like basically, if she had asked him to, he would have left the order and been with her. But he didn't need to leave the order, but because he believed he did, he was a dutiful man. And Starkiller is a parallel to that. And there's nothing cocooning you from that love. You can express that. You can explore these feelings instead of letting them fester. And wouldn't you know it brought him to the light. For Anakin, the feelings ate him up inside because he pushed them down, let them fester. Starkiller is an example of what happens when you actually let those feelings develop naturally and you get to explore them. It actually ended up bringing him to the light. It ended up working in his favor. I guess it really is the Force Unleashed, because when you drop labels like Jedi and Sith and you're just like, oh, whatever, I'm just a Force user.
Yeah.
Things kind of work out better for you.
Oh, man. I've never thought of it that way. That's such a good point. I never thought of Starkiller just being a good in-between. I mean, like, clearly, like, he's tipping between light and dark the entire time, and of course, depending on your choices. But man, that's such a good point. The Force Unleashed, taking it literally. Damn, man, you got me thinking.
I had this always resonated with me because for the PSP, when I had that game, I unlocked the purple blade.
Yeah.
And that's the one I used just because I thought like Mace Windu was my favorite character back then. So I'm like, oh, purple blade, nice. It wasn't until years later that I found out that the purple blade is actually like the type of blade you get when you're a light side user, but you can tap into the dark side without letting it completely corrupt you.
Right.
And it's the same blade that Revan had. Revan used to be a Jedi. He was corrupted by the dark side. He became a Sith. But then afterwards he came back to the light and he's like, hold on, there are good things about both of these sides that I can use. And maybe that's the Force. Maybe there is no like light side and dark side. Maybe there's just a whole Force and you just can't fall too deep into either end.
Right. And does that kind of fall into the territory of white Jedis or gray Jedis? What was it?
Man, I'm not I'm very versed, but I'm not versed enough to talk about gray Jedi, because I keep seeing online people say things like, oh, there's no such thing as a gray Jedi, that doesn't exist, but I don't see their explanation for that.
Right.
Like whenever I've seen them say that, like I've seen a lot of different people in a lot of different areas say that, but I've never seen the explanation. What do you mean there's no such thing as a gray Jedi? Like what is a gray Jedi to you?
Yeah. Damn.
To me, the term would probably be like somebody like Ahsoka, I guess, because she in Rebels she specifically says I'm no Jedi, as in okay, so she's a Force user, but she's not being limited by the rules set upon by the Jedi Order, which I think is cool. Like that's tight. Does that mean that she taps into the dark side? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. You got a good point, because Ahsoka in like The Mandalorian or in her own show, she doesn't use any dark side tactics or powers. So I guess being a gray Jedi would be a light side Force user, but not going by the rules set up by the Jedi Council or the Jedi Order.
To be honest, like the way Ahsoka does things, which is just her going from place to place helping people because they need help.
Yeah.
And this is post Order 66 Ahsoka, right?
Yeah.
That to me, when I compare that to the Jedi in the Clone Wars, which were like, oh, this planet needs help, but should we help them? They're not part of the Republic, and it might be a conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm.
Ahsoka seems more like a Jedi, because if you're over here playing politician, oh, I can only help certain planets. That's not what being a Jedi is about. Being a Jedi is about helping everybody. Oh no, this planet is neutral. We can only help them if they agree to join the Republic. Well, they don't want to join the Republic. You're a Jedi. You're still duty bound to help them. Yeah. In my opinion, even though Ahsoka says she's not a Jedi, that's as close to a Jedi as I can see.
I agree.
Like her and Qui-Gon are kind of like on the same level. Yeah. Because Qui-Gon like fought with the Council like hard. Yeah. He didn't agree with their decisions. He was like, no, let's just, listen to the will of the Force.
Yeah, don't make all these types of rules. Just do what the Force wills you, right?
Exactly.
And
Oh,
I think Starkiller walks between that line. Yeah, I guess a purple lightsaber does suit him well, because he's been trained by the dark side, but then of course got into the light. So he's a good in between. He's the pinnacle of what a Force user should be.
I believe so.
Towards the end, at least.
While we're talking about lightsabers, though, let me bring that up because in the PSP, at least,
Yeah.
the only way to change lightsaber colors is to unlock kyber crystals, like by finding them. There's secrets throughout the different maps. In the console games, though, it's different. There's a part right after Darth Vader betrays you and then like rebuilds you, and you have to leave and all that stuff, where you go and find Ram Koda.
Yeah.
Right, and he's in the bar. In the cutscene, and then in the game, when Starkiller ignites his lightsaber, it's blue.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
When did he do that? Don't you have to like go to Illum and like get a kyber crystal and make a new lightsaber? He had a red lightsaber, he got a blue one. How did that happen?
Was that whole process, was that canon at the time?
Hold on.
Because
the game doesn't explain it, I don't think, but
no, but I remember. Oh, was this before season 3 of Clone Wars? Or season 4? Because remember that whole arc where Ahsoka took these younglings to Illum, I'm pretty sure, this ice planet to get their crystals. I mean, the easy explanation is just like, this is a lightsaber Vader had from a Jedi he's killed or whatever, you know?
You know what? Yeah.
That could have been the explanation.
It could have been that.
But yeah, you find holocrons in the console versions, and like they either unlock crystals, or it gives you power-ups, or like more XP or whatever. And each crystal has their own bonuses depending on what color it is.
It's a spread out. It's not really a collectathon, but it
has those elements.
You have to like break, like some of them are very easy to miss because you'll walk into a room and it's actually right in front of you, but it's got two boxes placed in the way, and so you can't really see it, so you just run right past it.
Yeah.
It kind of urges you to break everything in every room to see if there's a holocron.
Force push everything.
Everything.
So what colors? So you said you ran with purple most of the time.
I ran with purple, yeah, most of the time. That was my favorite one, but only after Vader betrays you in the first game.
Gotcha.
Every time I booted up the game, whether it's PSP or console, red from the beginning up until that point, because it's canon. He's got the red one, and he looks fucking sick with the red one.
He does.
He looks sick with the red one. The purple one's tight and all. I feel like that's the one that he should have. Thematically, it works. Some people like the blue one. Some people like the green one. Like Koda's lightsaber. Well, it's fine. It's fine. For me, purple does it. For the second game, though, I don't know if you can do this. Can you have a red one and a blue one?
Yeah, you can change both. Yeah.
You can change both, but they don't both have to be the same one, right?
Doesn't have to be, no.
So you can, I feel like, because I only played the second one on the Wii back when it came out. Here's the thing, they had it in Blockbuster, and I rented it at Blockbuster, which was like 6 minutes away from my house, and I spent the whole weekend, then every day after school, and then the other weekend playing that game. And I beat it twice because... Nice. No, or like 3 times, because it's a short-ass game.
It really is.
Super short.
It's like 4 hours, maybe.
Yeah, I have it now. Like I could stream it on my PS5, but I haven't gotten to play it. But it's going to be different because the Wii version is also different than the console version.
Right.
Different voices, different cutscenes. I mean, like same overall story, but just I think I would run with blue and red. What about you?
In the first game, I would go yellow or gold or whichever one it was.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And in the second, I think you don't unlock the white ones till later, but like I would want to stick with the white ones. But if not, green.
Both green?
One always green up until I get both white, and the other one just depending on the bonus. So, yeah.
Okay, so like, that one would be your interchangeable one.
Yeah. What lightsabers did I have when I send you the picture of when I made that choice between?
Oh man, I think one of them was yellow. No, they were definitely.
Because man, that choice, like I was that final choice of either arresting Vader or killing him, I had a white and a black one.
A white and a black one. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that choice, man.
That's insane.
Yeah, I was really torn up about like which one I wanted to do because I wanted to kill Vader. I really did, but I knew I wasn't gonna actually kill Vader because like that's not the story.
You were in the moment, man. You were
I
in the
really
moment.
was. That's how upset I was. So I ultimately chose to spare him, to arrest him.
That one gives you satisfaction down the line.
Yeah.
Looking back on it. If you were in the Star Wars universe, what lightsaber color do you think you would rock with?
I know there's like actual ways to tell based on like who you are, but if I could pick, I would go green.
If you could choose.
If I could pick, I would go green.
Okay.
But I don't know what I would find in Ilum, you know?
That's right, yeah. Like if you, I'm sure you could take like a personality test online or something.
I'm sure that exists. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, it's supposed to be like blue is for like warriors or knights, you know, people who like defend like through fighting. Green is for like the more calm, collected, the ones who try to talk, you know, like the mediators, I guess.
I think I got it.
Yellow, I can't remember what yellow was, but yellow is supposed to be like
yellow is
thing. I don't know.
Goodness, warmth, energy.
Goodness, warmth, energy. Okay.
Yeah.
I know purple is being able to tap into both the best parts of both sides. Red is just red, anger. I think there's two versions. It used to be that red is because like the Sith made their crystals synthetically, but now
no, they're red because Sith like, make their crystals bleed, right?
Yeah. That's like the new thing. But I remember before it used to be like, oh, it's their synthetic crystals or something.
Gotcha.
But yeah, now it's like they make their crystals bleed. And if it's white, it's because it's been purified.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I would. What's orange? I know there's an orange one. Doesn't Cal Kestis have orange?
It is creativity, ambition, resourcemicalness.
I was just gonna choose orange because orange is a cool color.
It's a cool color.
It's just a cool color. I feel like it's Michelangelo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It is.
I would rock orange.
Okay. Well, anything else you want to talk about the Force? I mean, I'm sure there is. You know, like we were hitting like pretty surface level stuff. We got into it a bit. There was more like general. I mean, we can always have a Force Unleashed part 2.
Lightning round on the gameplay. The gameplay is amazing in the first one. It is like it genuinely makes you feel like you are a force to be reckoned with. Like you said earlier, it was God of War themed as hell.
Yeah.
With the hacking and the slashing, but I felt like it was you were more destructive. I felt as a video game character more destructive than Kratos because I could actually influence the people that are nowhere near me.
Yeah.
And in the Force Unleashed 2, they took that and they amped it up to like 20.
Yes.
Not only do you get new force powers, but you also have 2 lightsabers. And you have combos that actually play out cinematically.
That's right.
You'll throw the person up in the air, you'll go out there, you'll hack and slash them, and then just with a finisher. And then the next combo will look completely different. It flows super nice, super naturally, and the force powers are even more intense.
Yeah.
You definitely feel like a beast. I just wish it was longer.
Yeah.
I wish we got a part 3. My biggest gripe is that Disney shut down Lucasfilms and didn't continue with Force Unleashed 3 or 1313.
A lot of canceled projects, man.
But whatever. That's me. That was my lightning round.
All right. Well said.
Thank you.
All right, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Razzle Dazzle Show. Be sure to let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at Razzle Dazzle Show, on TikTok at Razzle_Dazzle_Show, on Blue Sky at RazDaz Show Pod, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Raz_Daz_Pod. Be sure to rate us 5 stars and leave a comment down below. We'll catch you on the next one.
Next time on The Razzle Dazzle Show. They definitely take inspiration from previous titles, be they video games or shows or movies even, but they manage to kind of make it their own, to give their own little spin on it. I mean, when you when it comes down to brass tacks. Oh, did you hear Gatorade? Oh, Gator. Do you wanna be part of the podcast, buddy?
Talk about furry companions.
Right? No, when give me a second.
That's definitely staying in the episode. I love it.
No. Okay. All right. So, no. What? Where was I? Where was I?
Tune in next week